What's up, my dudes? PUBG Snow Map. I don't really know how much this has been like leaked or confirmed or whatever. You guys know how all that shit is. You can't really believe everything that you read or see or whatever. I mean, we could be getting a snow map in 3 years from now. Like, you just never know. I know there's kind of been a map released on it. So what I'm trying to say here is, even though I'm making this video, this is way more of a speculation video, like my hopes for it. I don't really get into like how much has been confirmed or not confirmed, because I don't even really know. It's kind of hard to ever figure out, what is actually real and not real. Obviously, they're coming out with their sort of jungle style map, smaller map. So I think moving forward, it's very interesting to look into what is the next map, right? It always kind of, the next thought, and I feel like a lot of people's head is like, well, they have a woodland map, okay. Then they come out with their desert map. Now they've got somewhat of a tropical map going to be coming out. So the next logical thought there is they're going to come out with a snow map. And then the next thought, it just goes on and on and on through all the earth biomes. And then that's kind of how that goes there. Now, with their jungle map that they have, I thought it would have been a bit more jungly. I know it's not completed yet. I know it's not finished, but it would be cool to see that. They may have different variations of that. You never know. They may have a full beach map. I don't know what they're going to do with that, but as far as a actual snow map goes, this is where it's going to get very, very different. And I think not only in a like biome looking sense, but I feel like the way that they actually make the maps needs to improve in variation and change. You guys know how they're really trying to do something different with this tropical jungle map, making it a lot smaller. It's like 1/4 of the size of both of the other maps and stuff like that. And they might have like a really big underground cave network system to it. So they're really making almost like a totally different game mode just with a different map. And I feel like we could potentially be seeing something like that in some kind of way with this next snow map that we're going to be having here. But I think it is a super important thing for PUBG to start coming out with more maps. I mean, that has to be one of the biggest problems with this game right now is you're just on the same exact maps over and over. And granted, they're humongous maps, okay? They're like 10 times the size of a Call of Duty map. Like, I totally understand that, but at the same time, you get tired of looking at them same old desert hills. Hills have eyes in the background all the time, and on the woodland map, you just get tired of that same aesthetic look to it. So I think it's very important for PUBG with their newer biome style maps to really get a different look to it, a different aesthetic to it. You don't want it can have a different biome, but almost seem like the same exact biome if you have the same, I don't know, it's kind of hard to explain that, but they really need to get different, like make these ice, some sort of like frozen lake sections on this new snow map and have it to where if you run on it, maybe you slide around or something cool like that in one little section of the map, or, make like really tall snow, like one big tall snow mountain, and then have more of your standard like snowy woodland type trees in other areas. And there's so many different things you can actually do with that, and I think it's important to get more varied with the way that they have their buildings set up and the way that they have their structures set up. Seems like the first map and the second map, the original one and the desert one, even though they're almost polar opposite biomes, they almost feel like the same thing because of how the buildings are placed. Like they're placed so similar, and I feel like on some of their maps they need to have where like there's less towns. Some of them have less towns, some of them have smaller towns, some of them have way more wide open spaces where there's no buildings at all. There's just like woods and I don't know, little rock sections or something like that where there's not as many buildings. I think it'd be cool if they got more into that natural looking map type of stuff there. But yeah, it'll be cool to see a snow map in PUBG. I think it's going to be a very important thing. Then it goes into the weather effects of it, right? Are they going to make it to where the snow is actually falling on the map and stuff like that? I mean, I think they could really get back into doing that. I'm pretty sure they took the fog completely out of the game. I really want to see those weather effects come back. I know some people are like, Spencer, please, no weather effects. We can't take it. It makes our game too inconsistent. I mean, to me personally, I feel like PUBG is a realistic shooter. It's almost like a simulator shooter. I mean, it really is. So to say that it shouldn't have weather effects is almost going against everything that the game seems to be. It's one thing to say that you don't need to have weather effects in Fortnite, because that's not even trying to be a realistic shooter, but like, I don't know. I mean, I understand if you're like, get frustrated because you hop on a map and you want it to be this really consistent, like pro level, run to this house, go to that house, loot this, and shoot this guy over there kind of thing. And it's a very consistent sort of gameplay experience. But when you start adding weather effects in there, it changes the whole dynamic of everything. But that's kind of the whole fun of it, you know? So, and especially when you start talking about snow maps and having rain on your tropical maps at certain times, I just think it would give these having to play on these same maps over and over, give them a bit more variation, give them a bit more some substance to it. Because I know just adding weather effects can make the same map feel completely different. Exhibit A is Battlefield 1. A lot of their maps had different weather effects and totally changed how those maps felt. But I mean, you talk about the different vehicles you could have on a snow map, like obviously snowmobiles, stuff like that. I think it'd be really cool if you could, like if you had a pistol, if while you're driving you could shoot off of it. I know I'm like totally going back into the Modern Warfare 2 days here, like reminiscing about that, but you could have like a fully automatic Glock shooting off the snowmobile or something like that. I think it'd be kind of cool. It'd be cool to really have a vehicle like that in the game where you're like going up like one tall mountain. I think it'd be cool as far as like the terrain of a snow map to make it to where, you know how the desert map, it's almost like it's just these steady mountain formations all the way through the map. I think it'd be cool if the snow map just had one really tall, like almost Mount Everest style mountain on it, and then the rest of the map was kind of like somewhat of flat, woodlandy, snowy tree type of biome to it. And I think that'd be a cool way to do that there, versus having like the whole map, a bunch of mountains or no mountains at all. I think it'd be cool to just have one big mountain on it, and that'd be very interesting. Now, another thing I just thought of, wow, I can't believe this just came to my head, is let's just say you're walking in the snow. Do you leave tracks in the snow so that people can see where you've walked? This would be a very cool element if they added something like that into it. Kind of like that perk that was in, one of these recent shitty Call of Duties where they had the where you could like track their footsteps. I'm not necessarily calling the perk bad, but the Call of Duties were bad for sure the past 2 or 3. I mean, the World War, I get so confused. There's a World at War, and then there's a World War II Call of Duty. That one was okay, right? But the 2 or 3 ones before that were absolute shit. But they had one of the perks in one of those games where you could like track the footsteps of the enemies that were to a certain extent there. And I think that'd be a cool thing to have in PUBG, because you guys know it's all about like sound whoring and like this real man versus man, hunt the real player down. And a lot of occasions in PUBG, it's almost like you truly are hunting a deer, but the difference is the deer has a gun and they could potentially shoot you. But you get in those real like man-to-man shoot-offs and hunt down really tactical situations. So it would be interesting to see a footstep system in where just the snow is. I'm not saying the whole map has to be snow. Some of it can be like snowy rock, some of it can be ice. Obviously, they're probably gonna have some water on it somewhere, stuff like that. Some of it's gonna be just straight up like asphalt, concrete, whatever, and you wouldn't want to have footsteps in on that. But I think it'd be cool to see footsteps on any map that has like mud on it, wherever mud is or wherever like deep snow is. Obviously, I don't think it'd be very cool to have, or even deep sand, but I don't think it'd be cool to have footsteps on every terrain. I think that would kind of get out of hand. I just think, the only places you would need to have actual footsteps on it is like your super biome type terrains like deep sand, deep snow, deep mud, stuff like that. It'd be kind of cool to track people down like that. I mean, obviously it's going to be like a 1 in 1,000 chance that that's actually going to help you find somebody before they end up finding you in a way. You know what I'm saying? It's not like it's going to be like a totally game-breaking thing. I just think it'd be kind of cool to have something like a real gameplay hunt element in the game like that. I don't know if they could actually implement that in the game. I know it might be kind of bizarre if you've got 90 people all leaving down footprints on something, and then you got footprints going over footprints that can confuse people. Then you're going to be doing that damn The Shining, where you got the little boy where he's like trying to like walk in his snow footsteps and then walk back at them so that people can't track you down in it. I don't know how all that would work, but it'd be a very cool aspect in the game for sure. And yeah, I mean, that's about all there is to a snow map. If you guys didn't notice where you can actually go in there and pick your map now, basically, well, I at least know in the test version it would show like little emblems for whichever maps you had selected. So like for the desert map, it had like a little cactus emblem icon, and then for the woodland map, it had, I don't even know what it had, maybe like just a standard woodland tree or something like that. It had something there. So obviously they're planning on adding more biomes to PUBG. I mean, that just makes it like apparent, you know, seeing those different, you know, in my mind, I'm picturing like, okay, so they're going to have their standard woodland tree icon for that map. Then they're going to have the cactus icon for this map. Then they're going to have like a palm tree icon for the jungle map or something like that. And then they're going to have like a snowflake icon for the snow map. And it's just going to go on through all the different biomes there. So either way, it'll be fun to see, you know, what they do. I feel like with PUBG, they need to be getting out more content for this game. More maps, more guns, more attachments, just more shit. It just needs, not necessarily more attachment. I mean, there's plenty of attachments, but you know what I'm saying? Like, just more stuff. Maybe more, I don't know. It needs more. It's like it's just been stuck in this stagnant, stale mode for so long. How in the hell did I not see this dude over here? Look at this guy. I was totally in my tabbed out menu here. Oh my gosh. And what's so funny is he didn't even see me either. And of course I was like going through, there's so much loot on this guy. I was like trying to get everything that I could. And I was like, oh my God, there's a guy. Oh, wait a minute. I didn't even put any bullets in my gun. I didn't even reload my gun. Got to get the pan out. Hit him once in the head with the pan, and then he like freaked out, couldn't shoot me either. And then right there at the end, he had to put away his sniper, get out his other gun. I ended up hitting him once in the head with the pan, but he had that level 3 helmet on. I ruined his level 3 helmet, but yeah, that was a fun little moment right there. We both kind of freaked out because we didn't even realize we were running into each other. But yeah, I mean, PUBG Snow Map. There's a little bit of information out there on it. I think they might have a map on it out there as well. So, I mean, you can go look at that if you're interested in actual, real, tangible information. But, yeah, just talking from like a speculation type of standpoint here. And just a couple little things that'd be cool to see on it. I mean, I think the snow falling would add so much to it and kind of have a bit of that like snow fog type of stuff wisping through the air, going through the trees, where it kind of makes it to where your vision is not just 1000% clear. I think that'd be kind of cool to have on a snow map. And yeah, it'll be just fun having those differences of biomes in PUBG instead of just woodland and desert. And now, once they get to the point where they got woodland, desert, tropical, and snow, then we're going to be sitting pretty at that point, because now we've almost got like every single Earth biome to some degree in there. So I think that'd be a really fun thing to have. But either way, appreciate you guys watching all the videos. Later, dudes.